Why, good evening or good time of day, depending on where you are. Hello. Hi, Zadric. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and also that the music isn't too loud. I'm going to put it down just a bit more. Oops, sorry if you heard that. I believe I hit my microphone. But hello. I hope we're all doing well. I feel like I have a lot to say. And I really look forward to talking to literally everyone about it. Yesterday, I happened to get onto social media, YouTube, right when Genshin dropped, right when Genshin dropped those shorts. So a member of my community named Grim had mentioned me in my Discord because at the time, I believe I was playing Monster Hunter or I was distracted by something. But I got the mention and I was like, oh, what is this? And I saw a moon. So at first I thought it was just like a new event. But little old me, was completely taken by surprise. I have never been more excited about Genshin Impact's lore than right now. Because the Moon Sisters lore is among my favorite lore in the entire game, and I've desperately just wanted more. It has been established for years. We've gotten very, very little of it, and so now that it's front and center, it just makes me so excited. But welcome to everyone filtering in. I know I have a timed command that's going around. Please let me know about audio, especially since I'm playing the Hoyo mix, like OST. If I'm too loud or if it's too soft, just let me know. Because I absolutely don't want to overwhelm anyone. But yes, thank you. I really love the story of this game, and I love the ancient history, like the world building of so many games that I get invested in. So to learn about the Moon Sisters again just made me really excited. Because I'm so excited because I vocally haven't spoken about it. I talked about it very briefly with someone earlier, but it wasn't like an actual discussion. So it also makes me happy seeing people who are also happy about it too. So for me, I do plan on reading The Men of Lithin because I've been told to really look into this book that I did just recently get yesterday. Well, not yesterday. I purchased it today and I'll be reading it on stream. But before I get into that too much, I did just want to take in the fact that we got Moon Sisters lore randomly on a Sunday night while we were all minding our business. I personally just think that Hoyoverse was very rude for that. And I like that we got it, but I also feel like I don't even know how to feel. So I should have had Sayu in my team. I could have kept. I really need Crystal Flood. They really threw us for a loop with that. They absolutely did. Not only just because the event itself is gorgeous, but like the little Easter eggs within the web event itself. It's across social media. I know it's present on Reddit and I imagine, and obviously Discord, but like Facebook, Instagram, like how they do tease an image of Wibbly Not Cry at the very, very last panel, like page that you visit, if you turn your brightness up all the way. Like it's giving ARG vibes. And I just really like that. But I know I'm just jumping right in. But it was something I don't even know how to describe how I feel. I really don't. Like, obviously, I'm really excited, but it's just, we're in the end game now. And as exciting as it is, it's also a bit nerve-wracking because what's more to come? They only have so much time left, and unless they plan on doing Genshin Impact 2, I don't really think they're going to be stopping anytime soon. So So for me, the Moon Sisters are my jam, but I really wanted to just highlight, and of course everyone feel free to have your own thoughts, say things like that, because I'm brushing up myself because I've been so disconnected from Genshin lore admittedly for a bit, so I'm like de-rusting my brain, if that makes sense. But if there is one thing that will get me to lock in and sit up, it's about the moons. It's about the moons and it's about dragons. So I'm taking this time to reevaluate a lot of the ancient history we've been given. Now, I also want to say that I feel everyone should be giving themselves and others a bit of grace in the sense of like trying to connect some things, because Hoyoverse is purposely very, very vague, especially in terms of ancient history timeline, as well as like in-game, obviously, we have been told different legends that don't match up, and we have to go based on the information that we're given. And then we also have to do our best to put things together that may not always be 100%, which is completely fine. But for me, I know that there will be moments where I'm wrong. So if I am incorrect, please correct me. That's completely fine because I have to rewire so much now just because of what's going on. So, to my understanding and to the best of my ability, from what I remember, of course, the Moon Sisters are the most, well, not the most, they're one of the most ancient forms of history that we've been told across Tevat Historia. And that's mainly due to the fact, okay, first off, in Kanomia, I'm gonna need for you to calm down. And Kanomia's music is like much, much louder than I thought it was. So give me just a moment. Or at least maybe it's just really loud to me and not loud to you. I know I have a pretty soft voice, but if there's like an imbalance, please let me know, because I get so anxious about that. I think I say it every stream. But so, to my understanding, again, the Moon Sisters, Aria, Sonnet, and Canon are three of the oldest forms of history that we have received, talking about just ancient mythos. And, excuse me. And to the degree that we have that we've learned of them, we know that they each reigned, they essentially held dominion over the night sky. All three of them took different terms, like different intervals of quote unquote guarding the sky. That was until there was a great calamity. But before this calamity, there also was a wedding between a traveler from afar, ? And a Seelie, or angel, who wed at their lunar palace, of which was forbidden. We all know how no one has a good time in Tevat history, especially in terms of like things like this. So compiled with that, there was a great calamity, and presumably all of the sisters perished. However, we know that two of them did quote unquote die. And one of the corpses, the remaining sister, racked with grief or what have you, exists as the quote unquote moon in the sky. Like that is her corpse. However, It's not the moon that we see because the current moon in Tavat is a false sky. Beyond the false sky is something that we saw during the end of the Natlan Archon quest. Well, I shouldn't say like Act 5. I believe it was Act 4, actually, that we in fact saw through Malvika's power and the power invested in her from the various warriors of Natlan, that she essentially broke through the firmament and something was out there. And by something, I mean you could see the dark red black space back there. So also, okay, I'm just now seeing there was an ad. Do I need to pause for like 10 minutes? Because like, not 10 minutes, but like a minute or so, because I hate talking when there's an ad happening, because some of them I can control and other ones they just appear. And I hate ads. I do. Because I don't want to get too lost because I will forget a point that I've had. But beyond the false sky, we saw, beyond the false sky, we saw ancient moon fragments. Malvika herself stated that these ancient moon fragments are specifically from the ancient dragons, their technology, which has many points that, like, my brain is struggling to wrap that around, because in my brain, ignoring like the very little from the legends we've had up until this point of them being 3 goddesses who ruled over the night sky and then who all met their end due to a great calamity. In my mind, they existed beyond the false sky. This is more headcanon territory, because it makes me wonder if what we saw was actually the corpse of one of the moon goddesses, then the moon goddesses would be a construct from the dragons. And I don't know how I want to form that together. And I do, because it's a bit difficult for me, because I'm still registering and revisiting the information we received from End of the Archon quest, as well as revisiting on the trails of Behemoth. That was the name of the event where we learned about the Frost Moon science as well. And so I hesitate to say that I think the moon goddesses or the moons were created by the dragons, because then that would be a very strange, I don't want to say strange timeline, but because I'm still wrapping my head around it, I don't want to say anything prematurely. But it's the fact that those ancient moon fragments that were in the sky are in fact from the dragons. So I'm trying to do my best to piece together, is that one of their actual corpses? So again, I'm still just thinking. And I think the more I think, and I have to like properly put together my words. So Mui, I have not read Men of Lithin yet. I was going to after I ramble about this for like just a second. Because what was so interesting to me is that for the longest time, the 3 goddesses, they were introduced as these are ancient beings who long predate Rex Lapis. And so when I think predate, I think back to the era of the primordial one, of the sovereigns, of the angels, etc. Like eons kind of thing. So it's one of those things where I think I have to properly have to properly align where I would like to, like starting at one point and going from there. But before, let me go to, one second. Where is it? Okay, so from the Moon Sisters, what I found, also the little Easter eggs about how we're going to have the live stream presumably on the morning of a full blood moon, a total moon eclipse. That's so cool. Thanks, Hoyoverse. You and your attention to detail. Because I'm so bad with technology and I still need to figure out how to properly shift between like OBS and going on the actual, like showing my screen and stuff. I just have the images of what was on the web event first. But I'm looking at the different moons that they told about. And we have the eternal moon, the frost moon, and the iridescent moon. Now, for me personally, I think that like, well, first I don't want to say order. I guess the eternity one will be the last one. But also one thing I love with the animation is that when you physically click on it, you watch as each moon shatters or is destroyed in some way. They all have like rubble around them and stuff, but I digress. So it states that when the eternal moon fell, the heavens and earth were thrown into chaos. When the frost moon when the frost moon ceased to turn, nations faltered and fell into ruin. When the iridescent moon shattered, the crimson shadow sank into the abyssal sea. The world, no longer sheltered by eternity, marches towards its final breath. Yet from the ashes, the new moon rises, its ascent spinning the wheel of fate anew. So there will be a new moon. This is foretold. And the world is no longer sheltered by eternity. I think it's completely fair for people to immediately think of Raiden A, as well as Raiden Makoto, when they hear this, because a large part of A's character is realizing that the solemn stillness she wanted was not the true eternity, quote unquote, that Inazuma needed. But I will save that for a little bit because it also makes me think of Daneslip, because he said the exact same thing in the Travail trailer. To those who may be familiar. I think for me, I'm still debating where I'm aligning which moon, because I have characters in my mind that I associate with said moons, but not them necessarily being a one-to-one. So like when I look at when the frost moon ceased to turn, also, before I forget, I really find it curious how they phrase each of the moons being destroyed in some way. Like, I just find that really curious because they didn't absolutely have to do that. Even though I take things very literally and sometimes to the worst degree, but I do it because in my mind, I'm always like, they could have used any other words. They could have just used the same thing, but they chose to do something this. Excuse me. So I found it curious how they say the eternal moon fell. The frost moon ceased to turn, like stuck in time, halted, froze. The iridescent moon shattered. And I could be overthinking. I'm completely fine if I am. But I really find those curious to me. And it's just going to be on my mind. They made sure we saw that Acheron's world also had a crimson moon. Well, and that's the thing. Anytime I think of crimson moon, I do think of Acheron. But I also think of Arlecchino, because if we remember good old Parinari and even Arlecchino herself, each of them saw a large red eye, a titanic eye that looked at them in a very unique space, is what I will say. Hold on. Sometimes I kind of wish you could just favorite books so that your favorites would just be at the top. Because, I mean, I do love that you have, you can just scroll down, but sometimes, if only. Okay, so I'm looking at this again. Though young Parent Harry's first memory was that of being asked by the grown-ups to crawl through a dark corridor, this passage might have been a chimney for winter fires, for it was filled with coal ash, and there was not a single crack in it through which smoke or light could pass through. As he crawled, he could sometimes stumble in the pitch-black darkness. Fortunately, the corridor appeared designed for the passage of children in the first place, so the falls were not very painful. It also lacked any annoying cobwebs. When Parinari reached the end at last, the exit had not opened yet. He knocked, only for the grown-ups to coldly ask, "Are you dead?" Well, how was he to reply if he was dead? But the grown-ups did not like this response. They kept asking the same question until he at least shouted, "Yes, I'm dead." The adults then asked, "Did you see it then?" Perhaps it was the fear brought on by the darkness combined with hunger and exhaustion, but Parent Harry did indeed see an illusion. The crimson moon, hanging high in the pitch-dark night sky, suddenly turned around, revealing itself to be a titanic, horrified eye. The adults opened the door and embraced the soot-covered Parent Harry. You have traversed the fire of two worlds within the hearth, and here you are reborn. And so to me, it's... Let me go to Arlecchino's. Forgive me if I forget exactly where it is. Because this was just about her actual... I can't exactly remember where it is, but she talks about her... Perhaps it was during her story quest? I cannot remember exactly, and that will frustrate me to no end. But it's the idea that, like, they are both clearly tied to the iridescent moon, because why else would they emphasize Crimson Moon? We know the Crimson Moon that we currently, well, that she's right here. Not that she's the Crimson Moon, I'm not saying that, but her imagery, her powers, her ult, her very unique power comes directly because of her being a descendant of the Crimson Moon dynasty. Now, I would hesitate. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Wait, hold on. Okay, actually, let me retract that, because the frost moon and the iridescent moon are the moons that are the most curious to me. The iridescent moon shattered, the crimson shadow sank into the abyssal sea. The frost moon ceased to turn. When the frost moon ceased to turn, nation faltered and fell into ruin. So to me, physically watching the gif of the red shadow fall into the abyss, it does make me think of the moon that we currently have, just due to the one that we saw. But then it's like, I think I'm confusing myself just a bit, because they're ancient moon fragments created by the dragons. Oh, no, I hit the wrong button. Okay, so as a warning, there's going to be an ad in 1 minute and 30 seconds. So just got a message from Twitch telling me to turn off ad block in Opera. Twitch does not like when you use ad block at all. Oh my goodness, I was going to say something and then I completely forgot. But more or less, actually, hold on. Is it her story actually? Not a voice line? Hold on. I'm going to find this. Yeah, I think it only lets the... I think the... Maybe only the streamer can completely snooze it. Also, I feel there's like 6 moons at this point. I know we talked about like the 3 moon goddesses, but it's like, okay, we have the 3 moon goddesses, the new moon, the Bale moon, and then some other one. But I shouldn't say that because I think that like that's just 5. Let me see. Where? My goodness. Well, it's somewhere. And I know I remember TM, so I apologize. I really wanted to like I'll find it. It'll probably be easier if I like just look around a bit. But even though it may not be 6, there's at least 5 moons on the month. Because when I think of Bale Moon, I just think of another word for Crimson Moon, but that's a different story. So let me actually... That's actually going to bother me now. Oh no, Mui can't hear right now, but I'm not going to start reading until the ad is completely gone. So, a moment. Okay, very important. So, for this, I think it's very important to like remember who actually I'm saying it's like I'm making connections and I'm not saying things out loud. I apologize. The reason I said they were like 6 moons is because of this little one. I understand that it could have just been something. However, comma, I just... No. I'm pretty sure I have her name card too. Obviously, we all know that Hoyoverse has an array of moon imagery across all of their games. It's nothing new. However, I do think it's important to remember exactly why the moons are important and what they could represent. Nahida's crescent name card reads, "The rising moon admires the sun because her light can shine all over the earth. To this day,
I am proud of you all."
Thank you so much for the tier 1 subscription, Vega. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope that you're very comfy while I try my best to rack around Genshin Impact lore and make sense of things. So, Nahida's crescent name card reads, "The rising moon admires the sun because her light can shine all over the earth. On the other hand, the setting sun is envious of the moon, for she can be accompanied by the sweetest of dreams." And so, even though thematically we know that this is about Nahida and Rukkhadevata's relationship, Rukkhadevata envying Nahida because Nahida will be able to prosper and have dreams, even at the cost of herself, even though Nahida always wanted to be like Rukkhadevata, become more powerful, and especially during this time of Saru, when she was locked away and people largely disliked her because they felt that she wasn't a competent, even worthy Archon. So the way that this is phrased, I do think is also appropriate. While it may not necessarily be moon sisters one to one, I just think it's very important to mind how Nahida of all characters, one of the wisest, the god of wisdom herself.
To this day,
So
I am proud of you all.
Joffrey, welcome. Thank you for the prime. I'm going to get so in my mind, I'm thinking of three moon sisters, three moons. The new moon, who is yet to be seen, even though it's heavily speculated that it could be Paimon, as she is presumably the Kiana, insert proper phrase here. She also has the most celestial like designs, and we've been waiting. We've been waiting for like 5+ years because Paimon has a connection somewhere. It could be her, but it also could be someone that we are unfamiliar with yet, which is also completely fine. So we have the three moon goddesses. We have the new moon, whoever that is. I think of I hesitate to say that the Bale moon is something completely different because I would just associate that with just with the crimson moon. So I mean, her little coat, she has little moons on it. She has moons and constellations. She essentially has like a mini solar system on her cape. It's very similar to, if you recall, in the web event, you just see a solar system, like galactic chart. And it's very similar to the current domain enemy, the abyssal, I want to just say abyssal construct that's in Natlin. Oh, bless. I literally was about to just scroll all the way over there. Blinks, where is it again? I must remember. Okay. This enemy, I don't recall the exact name of the attack. I feel like maybe Genshin Wiki would have that information, but it's essentially a solar system kind of. It's very similar to like Mona's attacks, you know. That. Also an excuse to include Mona into everything because I love her. Yep, that right there. So those effects are present. And I think that it's very important that even though not every character is connected, not every character is going to have this huge lore, you know, revelation or connection, but I do think it's important to take note of. And one thing with Hoyoverse is that they cook. It'll take a moment, but it pays off, at least for me. So I am now going to read more into, I'm going to read the Men of Lithin. Her splash art is also similar. Correct. It is. Excuse to look at Mona. And you see, and don't get me started on the Hexen Circle. Even though, yes, she is tied to the Hexen Circle because her master, Barbaloth, is one of the most powerful mages in the world, the most powerful hydromancer in the world. I do think, in my Hopium brain, that Mona would be much more relevant because she, like Albedo, will uncover the truths of the world, as dangerous as it is. I pulled C3 Mona today, second time I lose 50-50. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, T. I feel really, really, really bad because I don't get upset when I lose 50-50 and get Mona, because Mona, she's one of my favorites. Her, Furina, Dainsleif, Zhongli, like, I love. So, but I'm really sorry. It'll be okay. I really hope you're able to get the character that you're going for, or you save the guarantee for a future one. Because in my delusional brain, I'm saving my guarantee for Skirk, but that's a different conversation. So we see, like, her splash art is just so beautiful to me, not just because of bias, but on the single fact that because she is so deeply connected to fate and discovering fate, I feel it's very, very, it's a bit short-sighted to dismiss what she says, especially. Because if, like, I really don't want to get too much into a Hexen Circle discussion right now, since I want to read The Men of Lithin. Just seeing her being able to divine the fates of others is definitely something I think people don't really, really absorb. So, but with that being said, I'm going to go on a Mona rant that I haven't actually really talked about too much. Written in the stars, say that mother. Oh, absolutely. The greatest astrologist, Mona Magistus. Where is it? Okay, so I just purchased this book today. I know nothing about this book, so I'll be reading it for the first time. I apologize in advance if I'm not making sense as I go through it. So, if I have comments, I'll stop after the volume, assuming I don't get thrown for a loop. So, okay. And I also will stop if an ad comes. So, Volume 1 of Men of Lithin. It is the 3rd millennium since the flame was stolen. Since records began, there has never been an age as enlightened and reasoned as this. Even on moonless nights, the countless towering monoliths of the metropolis are illuminated by innumerable lights. The metal pipes that connect the streets and districts shine with a resplendent glow, the golden liquid flowing within, imbuing the city with a vital energy. That aureate fluid is Lithin, the lifeblood of human civilization. Since the technocracy first discovered it 100 years ago, it has been the source of countless innovations, leading humanity into a new era. Automated tilling machines revolutionized farming, more than sextupling agricultural yields, while airborne shuttles soared into the sky, connecting the once isolated cities dotting the continent. The people of today can no longer imagine a world without Lithin. This applies doubly so for the rulers of the now interconnected cities. Lithin was first discovered in the ruins of the ancient settlement known as Natlantia, a city located deep within the earth, thus allowing for the mining of the substance whose roots lie deeper still. As there was no way to drill so deep from the surface, Lithin production was concentrated in the hands of those who controlled the Natlantian ruins. Excuse me, sorry. The Technocratic Assembly. As demand for Lithin grew, conflicts arose between the cities over its supply and distribution. As disputes became ever more common and increasingly bitter, the specter of war grew ever darker, enveloping the land. Though, at least for today, the residents of the metropolis have temporarily forgotten the shadow that hangs over them, as they crowd the streets and plazas for the Continental Fair being held in their city. This grand event, organized by the Technocratic Assembly, is a celebration of peace and progress, showcasing the latest inventions and fruits of technological innovation. Even though these inventions will likely soon contribute to the growing arms race between the disparate cities, they still serve as temporary comfort to an anxious populace. That is, except for you. You feel no interest in the novel playthings on show, or the crowds who gather to gawk at them. The hustle and bustle of the fair only heightens the unease you feel at the decision to meet here. A few weeks ago, a group of insurrectionists destroyed the Lithin transfer hubs at Soth before broadcasting a pre-recorded projection, repeating the same old cliches that Lithin is a demonic gift and that the technocracy are destroying the world. Apart from titling themselves as heralds of the enlightened, there was nothing to differentiate them from other such malcontents. I'm going to continue. Forgive me. However, the ruler of Tsoth declared that the insurrectionists had acted at the instigation of top figures within the metropolis in hopes of provoking war between the two cities, even going so far as to provide evidence showing that each one was a metropolitan citizen. Excuse me. In order to clear their name and diffuse the situation, the metropolitan authorities requested the technocratic assembly's intervention, and it is to this end that you are here pursuing investigation. My apologies, Mr. Detective, to have kept you waiting. This exhibition really is wonderful. It's been hard to tear myself away. Just as you are pondering the connection between these events, a short, rotund gentleman hails you from behind. It would appear this is Akra, the agent the Technocratic Assembly has sent to aid in your investigation. You can dispense with the formalities, Akra. Let's start with what we each know. So, immediately, 3,000 years since the flame was stolen. Lithin being the lifeblood of human civilization. Where is, okay. I feel like, okay, I'm not going to go, because I was going to scroll through. But like, give me just a moment. I want to properly, so like, I feel like this is just, they're being so mean at this point. Like, if I wanted to talk about Conria, you guys could have just called me. Like, you literally could have just called me. And I'm immediately going to be connecting Conria and Perrin Harry to this. I just know I am. The reason I've stopped, I apologize. I'm just lifeblood of civilization, technological advances, insurrectionists. Okay. Except for you. You don't have an interest in what's going on right now. You're just investigating. Let's see. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Volume 2. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, you would have never believed that this prosperous metropolis yet harbored the remnants of such a benighted age. After days of investigation, you and Akra finally locate the insurrectionist known as the Unenlightened, hiding out in a decrepit church in the shadow of a hulking bridge. Their location leaves you more convinced than ever that this is merely a band of Luddites left behind in the wake of progress, and not some insidious tool of a more sinister political plot. Regardless, you need evidence to present before the Technocratic Assembly, and so you and Akra decide to wait for the insurrectionists to leave their base, on one of their seemingly endless missions to transport some unknown cargo, before sneaking inside to gather the proof you need. You stake out their hideout for a full 3 weeks before you finally seize your chance. By now, you are sure that there are 12 of them coming and going from the church, and on this particular morning, they have all left together on their transport. Based on your observations, they are unlikely to return before dusk. Akra stands sentry by the door as you enter the church alone. The long and winding corridor is filled with a sickly scent reminiscent of formal. I can't pronounce that. You you grope about in the dark until you finally find the exit. Perhaps because it is lit by archaic oil lamps, the inside of the church appears much larger than expected. In the dim light, you can just about make out stacks of strange metal vats along the walls. It must be these that the group has been transporting away. I'm going to assume that's supposed to be pronounced formaldehyde? I'm not the smartest, I apologize. You approach the vats carefully, noticing that each one has a label stuck to it, all of them displaying the single word, ignorance. Perhaps this has something to do with some ancient religion, you think to yourself. Just as you're preparing to pick up one of the vats and take it with you to investigate, a pair of cold hands clamp down on your shoulders. Darn it! You and Akra had diligently staked out the church for 3 weeks, and only 12 people had entered or exited in all the time you were watching. Either this one had never left, or there was another exit you didn't know about. In your panic, you kick open one of the metal vats. The stench of formaldehyde, the very same you detected while entering, is overpowering. The pungent smell helps clear your head a little, and you finally see clearly the man who has accosted you from behind. His face could charitably be described as human, but where his eyes should be, there are only 2 empty sockets set amidst twisted features. Did you see it? Did you see it? He screams, thrusting out his thick arms and grasping at the air around him. He is clearly blind. Perhaps this is the reason you haven't seen him venture outside. Once you realize he can't see you, you quickly move back to the entrance of the room and stumble out through the dark corridor outside. Hey, detective, what's going on? Hey, careful, where are you running for? Through your fear and confusion, you hear your companion's voice, followed by a flurry of hurried footsteps as he quickly rushes over to you. Your mission has not gone smoothly, yet you still have something to show for it. At the very least, you managed to take one of those strange vats with you as you fled. With this realization in hand, you clambered to your feet. You look up to find a monstrosity gazing back at you. An apparition somewhere between a skeleton and a machine. Its face is sunken, a pair of lifeless, hollow eyes boring into you. And then a cold voice. You saw it, didn't you? Unenlightened one. Mm. It's giving Lovecraftian. Okay. I'm going to continue. A colossal head and slender limbs connected by countless threads to a seemingly reptilian body. What you are looking at is a human. It is the last specimen of its kind in the world. The monstrosity in front of you is gesturing to another creature floating in a nearby cultivation tank. Even though you have become accustomed to your companion's visage, you do your best to look away. The sight of its eyes still sends shivers down your spine. If this is a human, then what are we? You asked the creature that until recently you had known as Akra. Now that you think about it, it seems obvious that this world merely be a code name used in the Technocratic Assembly. By means of some unfathomable technology, the church is connected to Atlantia. Perhaps every city has just such a place somewhere to connect them in the dark. You, if you mean those that dwell on the surface, pugs, beagles, little gray men, we have had many names for them through the ages. But whatever you choose to call them, they are creatures we designed. Their biological functions are in perfect contrast to our own. The environment in which we thrive is deathly toxic to them, and vice versa. It is precisely because of this that the degradation they cause is vital to recreating a world suited to our existence. If things are really as this creature claims, the entire history of our civilization is the result of their planning, and the countless technological marvels and inventions that we now enjoy were bestowed on us by them. They have always been right here beside us, and yet we never saw them. In their world, in their words, this is because of a gland in our brains that secretes a gaseous substance called the fog of reason, preventing us from perceiving the world as it truly is. The only reason I can perceive this creature's hideous form right now is that I inhaled the gas known as ignorance, a substance that I myself had created in my previous incarnation. I still have one more question. Having given us Lithin, how can you guarantee that we'll destroy each other in a great war once it runs out? I am pausing right here because there is an ad break. But I will use this time to not only say how Lovecraftian this is, in terms of like the cosmic horror of who has created who, but ooh, I just got oh, well, I currently have notification that there's an ad break for the next minute and 30 seconds, which is why I haven't continued reading. And I'd rather just be a little safe until um like it does go away, because I would hate to read this and then people missed it to those that are around. So this is also just okay. Maybe it's because I'm still thinking about I don't want to say cosmic horror, but not only is this giving Conria, but I'm really reminded of like Capitano's existence and how he was able to collect souls the way that he did. Not in the sense that like this is Capitano, the detective, but it really makes me think of like you have this. Let me wait. I'm going to wait and I'm going to continue reading. Lithin, the miraculous energy source discovered amongst the Atlantean ruins, is the energy-based form of these creatures. After their civilization had descended into a large-scale war that covered the planet in a hazardous substance, the surviving humans decided to transfer their essence into pure energy and stored themselves in a biovault deep underground. Following this, they designed a brand new species, one that could survive on the polluted planet they had created. They hoped that this new species would aid in the biodegradation of the harmful substance until the surface was habitable again and they could begin anew. Yet that new world would have no place for their creations. Once the surface dwellers discovered Lithin and used it to advance their civilization, the ancient beings from beneath the earth would start to reemerge. And so they wait for the day when surface civilization destroys itself in a catastrophe that will give them new life. Perhaps you've heard of psychohistory, or perhaps not. It hardly matters. The point is, besides designing biological functions, the design of a species' history is also a simple matter of technology. The incessantly questing heart, the barely controllable greed, the drive for victory, it all leads them to the same inevitable conclusion. The quote-unquote unenlightened deny it, but that is only because your senseless morals have yet to be overcome by evolution. At long last, you arrive at the final room in the deepest depths of the biovault, where the last memories of countless generations of the enlightened are stored. When the survivors of this ancient civilization decided to transfer their life force into Lithin, there were those among them, though a minority, who resisted. They refused to abandon their individuality and merge into boundless, singular wisdom. Because of this, they were labeled the unenlightened. The majority were unable to deny them their rights, simply preserving for them this final room, allowing them to live out incarnation after incarnation among the life forms on the surface. Those who considered themselves enlightened believed that one day their brethren would choose to join them and return to the embrace of the whole. Indeed, you are the leader of the unenlightened. You have witnessed the countless memories of sages who established the codes of law, of poets who extolled the graces of virtue, and of warriors who fought against the oppression of tyrants. At the start of each memory, you see a huge figure cast its shadow over those who were exiled from the ancient city. The figure seems to speak, but you can no longer recall the words. All you remember is that you yearn for him. Perhaps every generation of the unenlightened eventually returns here to give their answer. In that case, what will your answer be? So, game? 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 Hello? Okay. So, I really don't like being silent immediately after I read something because I need time to process. But so now I'm not one. I don't want to return to the collective. That's not me. If that's for you, by all means. No. Also, wait, I'm going to open the book again. I think I'm just, oh, wait. Eh. I want you all to forgive me as I stumble a bit. So Leah said it sounded similar to Vera. So one, it absolutely does. It does sound very similar to Vera's Melancholy, and it also reminds me a lot of Conria. And a lot of its elements remind me of Capitano's existence as like, even though he was collecting souls into himself. Um I will find this bookshop again. I apologize in advance for probably, because here's what that book made me think of. Vera's Melancholy. I almost said like it also makes me think of the symphony in Squints. The Fun 10 World Quest with Scylla and wait. Okay, yes. Amazoli, may I speak to you? A fantasy novel doing the rounds among the tribes of Natlan that is said to be translated from a popular work by the reputedly famous Fontanian author Nyan. Wait. Okay, so me actually saying that was Lovecraft, that's so funny. That's actually so funny. um, so okay, any type of like cosmic horror, I immediately do, Lovecraftian because of course, but like, race, yes, it is. The Natlanese who have visited the court of Fontaine, however, claim to have been unable to find the original, nor has anyone managed to find a local who's ever heard of the author name. Excuse me, sorry. So, I think you know how Perrin Harry was like Arlecchino? Like that, like this is Arlecchino's book. We also have more Conry. This I really feel like, is this Capitano's book? Maybe I'm super in my Hopium era. My Copium era that he'll be playable. But like, unless this is for a future, it's not Capitano. But like, it's happened how many times now? Where a book we have is released right before like a new playable character. I could be huffing too much of the Capitano will be playable juice. Uh Drinking, I think that makes more sense. I'm all over the place. Okay, so first and foremost, claim to have been unable to find the original, probably because not only is the name not, it's like Arlecchino in the sense of glitching through the world, and you won't be able to process it kind of thing. Like, and the reason I think so hard, like, I keep saying like, I don't mean to do this so much. Here's the thing. I'm now really invested in this book, which is going to be frustrating for me because I'm trying to take it one step at a time. I just went over it again. It's specifically in the passage saying that we are the reasons why these civilizations not flourish, but we construct everything. We create everything. Abitana was specifically, he was, I don't say constructed, but his body was altered in such a way so that he would be able to do what he did. Where is it? Also, the Unenlightened. I find this music actually very fitting. Where is it? Right. What you were looking at is a human. It's the last specimen of its kind in the world. But also, okay, so here's where I'm thinking. We know that the primordial one created, like, we think it's a unified civilization, and then we also think of how the primordial one created humanity. Like, humans are not native to Tavat. That is something that's very important to know. They are not natural. They are quote unquote new, but they didn't naturally exist here. And we know that the moon fragments in the sky, the ancient moon remnants, is technology. So now my question is this book actually in relation to ancient dragonkind creating more than what meets the eye? Because if I go down their route of they created, like, I don't want to say they created the Moon Sisters, but what I don't know why else they would say Malvika says, like, would say that, unless that is specifically meant to be an artificial moon. And if that is the case of the artificial moons, then my brain goes, the Moon Sisters are artificial then. We know humans are artificial. Asterisk. Hold on. This is a human. Wait. What you are looking at is a human. It is the last specimen of its kind in this world. This is a human, then what are we? You? If you mean those that dwell on the surface, we have had many names for them. Whatever you choose to call them, essentially, they're going to repeat the same cycle over and over and over again. And we specifically created them to be that way so that they could exist in a world that we have a formula that works. And then also, I feel like I have, like, sorry, I literally just got chills because I have, like, so many thoughts rushing up. I think this is about, in this case, like, in this book, it's depicted as, like, cosmic horror kind of entities, basically. But given the climate of Tavat, and we're currently in Natlin, I think of just, dragon constructs, their secret automaton, like their, excuse me, their technology. So from that, if they created artificial moons, then this new moon could be artificial in this same manner. Now I want to revisit Vera's melancholy. It's been so long. Lithin, the miraculous energy. I'm getting more dragon vibes, but that's probably because that image is the rotund stuck in my head. So, because my brain is going in different ways. It's really wanting to steer in the dragons, these ancient dragonkind, what have you, artificially created the moons, and thus the moon goddesses were created due to them. But for me, that doesn't make sense because I can't connect as to why. Like, I feel like I'm really missing something, or I'm grossly misinterpreting something. Like, this is a very lore-heavy book, and but just, I'm sorry, I'm really, like, I'm trying to figure out where I want to begin. Because the idea of a species creating humans is nothing that's shocking to me, considering it's been done before. But I'm doing my best to try and align I feel so bad because I Lithin, the miraculous energy source discovered amongst an Atlantean ruins, is the energy-based form of these creatures. After their civilization has descended into a large-scale war that covered the planet in a hazardous substance, the surviving humans decided to transfer their essence into pure energy and store themselves into a biovault deep underground. Okay, let me remove Capitano so I can make things more easy on myself. When they did speak of cycles that the civilizations go through, I did immediately think of Renee. Shout out Renee. But I think Lithinist people. So are humans just dragons in this case then? No. See, this is how my brain works. I was excited about Moon Sisters lore and then I got so confused by this book. Because there was a specific passage that talked about having a reptilian body and arms connected by threads. Greetings, Zaria. How have you been? I'm going to figure this out. Okay. So this is how I am going to interpret what I just read. I think in terms of humans, I believe humans is a broad term. So, okay, I probably sound really obnoxious. I'm sorry. What I mean by this is I think that also there's going to be an ad in 5 minutes. I apologize, even though I've been silent for 5 minutes. It spoke of 3 types of people. Those specifically those who were underground, who I believe are supposed to be referencing Conria. Then there were those who created, like, I don't want to just call them aliens, but like, it's like if I think like the cosmic entity that created these, the, to what I'm understanding, dragons, ancient dragons, Onrians, and then would that possibly be the unified civilization? But I believe that would predate that. So maybe, I'm really going to have to rack my brain around this one because I feel like I'm being pulled in different directions and I'm not sure where to properly navigate it. So again, I'm sorry that I'm quiet. I was so like excited for Moon Sisters and then I feel like this book just took all the energy out of me, not in a negative way by any means. So let me see. I literally have no idea how I want to interpret this book. Like, I think I need to reread it again. Like, I don't think it's good for me to just like sit here and not say anything. I know I do that previously, but I really I just oh my gosh. Like I know this book, like there are many Lovecraft references, but it's more so how do I pick this apart? How do I even want to begin to pick this apart? I feel like my brain is overloading because here's my question for those that are lurking. What would you describe as human, and how would human, not how I would phrase that second question. I feel like I'm descending into the abyss myself. I think just to keep things easier for me, I'm going to assume that there were the dragons and then the Conrians and then there were the hmm. What connection are you trying to make here? So to begin, I'm trying to make the connection of who do the humans represent in this book. Also, I am so sorry for my audio just being all over the place. I really am. I'm going to reread this again because I need to better understand this. It is the third millennium since the flame was stolen. Since records began, there has never been an age as enlightened and reasoned as this. Even on moonless nights, the countless towering monoliths of the metropolis are illuminated by innumerable lights. The metal pipes that connect the streets and districts shine with a resplendent glow, the golden liquid flowing within imbuing the city with a vital energy. That aureate fluid is Lithin, the lifeblood of human civilization. Since the technocracy first discovered it 100 years ago, it has been the source of countless innovations, leading humanity into a new era. Automated tilling machines revolutionized farming, Onria, more than sextupling agricultural yields, while airborne shuttles soared into the sky, connecting the once isolated cities during the continent. Like I think of field tiller, I just think of Conria, but like this is directly connected to Atlantia. And I don't, not necessarily, I don't know why, but my brain is really thinking about the world formula that Renee spoke about and obsessively research in Fontaine during those Fontaine World Quests. Because which cycle would this be? Also, the fact that it's just right next to Vera Melancholy, that just can't be by accident. This sounds like Natlin before it was called Natlin, when the nation first prided itself on its forgery. I agree with you. I agree. And I think I'm just struggling to I feel like I'm completely missing the plot while I'm trying to decipher what it is exactly I'm reading, because it's clearly an allegory. I literally am at a loss for words. I think this is a book that has me at a loss for words, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to make of it right now. And I don't like just sitting in silence. So I'm sorry to the VOD watchers who literally have to just sit in silence for like 20 something minutes, because I just, like, now I'm going to be, because I was up for so long last night because of that lore. And now I'm not going to be able to sleep because of this book. I generally am not even sure where I want to begin there. Oops, I did not mean to. But either way. I feel really bad because I had so much energy and now I'm just confused and lost and scared. Like, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of it, and I feel like I'm just sitting, I mean, I am just sitting in silence, and I don't think that's doing anyone justice, especially when I originally started with so much excitement for Moon Sisters and trying to figure out where I wanted to go from there. Okay, so let's look at this first and foremost. When you view the, oh, this is the wrong NPC. When you go to the shop vendor and you speak to him, he's like, when you read the description, it specifically says that no one's ever heard of this. No one's ever heard of this Lovecraftian name, which I do believe is a pen name. It's just a random name. Well, I don't want to say random name. It's Lovecraftian, but it's the fact that someone went out of their way to just change their name. I think it's like, it's a Lovecraftian name, but it's also just supposed to be like clearly a little play on the word, like Conrian, because this is Conrian. Well, not Conrian, but you know what I mean, word wise. Um, let's see. The Natlanese who have visited the court of Fontaine claim to have been unable to find the original, nor has anyone managed to find a local who's ever heard the author name. See, the R&R will protect me during this very scary time. I need like a plushie because I am so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, you all, I am missing a keycap on my keyboard and it's actually driving me crazy because I was about to type something and I can't even use that key because I don't know where the key went. So sad. Um, ignoring that. So we presumably have this extraterrestrial race that has created humans in quotations. Let's see. Whatever you choose to call them, they are creatures we designed. Their biological functions are in perfect contrast to our own. The environment in which we thrive is deathly toxic and vice versa. It is precisely because of this that the degradation they cause is vital to recreating a world suited to our existence. So it's necessary for their creations to degrade to benefit the creator. But then this just makes me wonder, like, I don't believe we still even know. Like, I'm not saying this is like a one-to-one, but this, like, we still don't even know why Reindotir even did the Primordial Human Project. We can assume it's because she just wanted to because she wanted to. There may not be a deeper reason, but it just makes me think of like the Shadows Amid Snowstorms. Like, is it wrong? Like, you know, the traveler is a gardener, um, being in a garden, all those metaphors, and just the concept of creating life. And these extraterrestrial beings in this story, quote unquote, um, like, I feel like I'm not going anywhere with my words because my brain is working faster than my mouth can. And because humans live in ignorance, the quote unquote toxic, the toxicity that, you know, that fog, um, will always amount to the human's downfall. But the reason we can't find the info is because this is in reference to another novel called The Mound, where the people noted in the novel are ancestors of surface humans called Kanyans. Which I think is purposeful that they chose this because even though again it's not a one-to-one, I do think like it's just clearly supposed to be like Conrians. Like they say surface humans, and even though Conria is underground and not under the purview of the seven, not a part of Tavat in quotations. Um it really makes me wonder how this world building is working. If I am to take this literally, which I will, because this is giving the same, not the same vibe, but like it's giving Parent Harry in the sense of how important it is. It's okay, the R&R will remain here as I try to think. Um, let's, where is it? Lithin, the miraculous energy source discovered amongst the Atlantean ruins, is the energy-based form of these creatures. So, okay, if it's not Conrians, then I guess this is just the original ancient Atlantean. But that, I feel like I'm starting to get overwhelmed. Like I'm getting anxious because I can't exactly pinpoint where I want what I'm even talking about. Because it's just like so much. I do not believe even the I almost said the Conrians can help me. The Aranara can help me. Excuse. But I also can't be necessarily upset because if we think about how humans function in Tavat, they were also created by an extraterrestrial descender. Like, I know there are like sci-fi cosmic horror references in here, but okay. Let me. I love the Aranara. I feel at this point they're just being silly, and I am going to stop this music. Please. I appreciate they are trying to protect me, but no. Okay. So, goodness, this is loud. Give me just a moment. Is this audio okay? Because if not, I can just change it. Regardless. So, in this, the way that it's being structured, I think it's the ancient civilization is not Lantia. From the civilization, a war happened. It was mentioned. Was it in volume? It might have actually been this one, 3. There was a great war that happened, and it destroyed the civilization. At the very beginning, the flame was stolen, which is obviously in reference to Ubakan. And so, over the span of 3 millennia, there was this technocracy that was created. This organization was formed. And I believe Lithin was discovered before the technocracy became much more. You have they mentioned having cities, they mentioned Thoth, and I believe that the surface dwellers, I don't the surface dwellers constantly return because this person, and they mentioned how the cycle continues. Whatever we call them, in quotations, whatever we call them, they are doomed to repeat the same behavior, the same cycle. The unenlightened are regarded as these unintelligent people. I don't think unintelligent is a word, but I digress. I feel like it would be easier for me to try and create an infographic and like pull up paint. So from there, from this ancient civilization, many people wanted to essentially become this collective. But others, the minority, did not. They were the unenlightened. Oh my gosh, I feel like I just I made this so much more complicated than need be. Okay, so even though it's kind of not kind of, it is dark, I think that I don't where is it? No, I need to find that screenshot that talks about all the different cycles, and we were currently on the Conria like world formula that Renee talked about. I think This is so this is so it goes in too many directions, I think, for me to like break apart. Like I think I would need to quite literally pull up MS Paint and then try and like analyze where I think my mind is going, if that makes sense. I know I shouldn't take this book too literally, but I am. I don't think I should for my own mental health because I'm not making any sense and I'm just sitting in silence. And I think I've been like streaming for an hour and a half now, and 40 minutes of that has just been me quiet after reading this book that is quite literally breaking my brain. Though I do think it's interesting because even though the humans in that book could easily be regarded as like I think of Natlantia, it was mentioned by the Nartis and Croits, but every time I think of Natlan as a whole, to me, throughout everything, throughout their fight with the Abyss, throughout their like the many deaths, cycles of rebirth, Natlan at its core represents human growth and triumph. So even despite everything with humanity, that's really what I think of with Natlan. So I think it's more so mm, yeah, I feel so bad. This section of this stream, I wish I could just remove because I have no idea how I want to make of that book. I think I need to really properly read it myself and then come up with my own conclusions because as much as I enjoyed doing it on stream, I really didn't know what to say. And I say that because this is the first time I read it and I like my brain is just racking around because it's not that I want to dismiss this book because I absolutely will not. It just like Vera's melancholy absolutely means something. Yes, you have cute short stories, but the issue is we've learned, especially since Sumeru, that short stories often tell real tales, but they have to be disguised in a separate way. So I firmly believe this book will be very important. Not necessarily that everyone has to overanalyze it in the way that I probably will, but we don't talk about that. But it's important. It's relevant. Analogies are incredibly powerful and important in Genshin Impact. I feel that Genshin doesn't put things in for nothing. While some of the novels seem funny haha, there's usually some basis. It might be difficult to read the story we have, unless we have to read the base story, where it came from to understand how it correlates to the Genshin context. Yes, and I agree. I feel like Heavenly Principles being asleep for this long has something to do with the state of the moons. In before Celestia's moon powered. I think ooh, Heavenly Principles discussion stream start now question mark? Because I think it's very interesting how the Heavenly Principles has been so quiet, quote unquote, sleep for so long. Because naturally, I would just assume, oh, the heavenly principles is just dead. But I don't think I could safely say that because of
물욕을
who they
억제하면
are,
점성술사
what they've
수행에 오르며
done,
소박하게
and
살아야만
things of that
세상의
nature.
진리를 엿볼 수 있어.
But I don't believe, like, I won't say that I think the heavenly principles is completely dead, but
어?
it must exist to me as like
아,
in a dimension within itself. Not like an actual dimension, but when we think about Irminsul, it records it's a supercomputer. Excuse me, a supercomputer. And Heavenly Principles has been asleep for a good few hundred years. And
정해진 운명을 정확히 보여주는 게 바로
we assume that the Heavenly Principles is asleep because he, they, she, etc. Is conserving power or restoring themselves in some way. But the thing that's most curious is that Tavat is falling apart, and honestly has been for so many years. Not to mention, okay, I'm saying all this to say this is a theory that has been going around for a while. I remember talking about it with back during when I was much more active on the Conray lore server, where I think that the game where we're currently heading, I think there's going to be another Ragnarok. I think there's gonna be like an entire, all the phases again. And I think we're going to reach something to that effect if and or when the quote unquote heavenly principles returns. Because so much of Tevat, the cracks are so deep, and it's honestly laughable at this point how it's like, what is going on and how are things being kept together? I can't, mind you, the Hydro Divine Throne has been destroyed. Heavenly Principles didn't wake up. False Sky shattered. Heavenly Principles didn't wake up. Haven't seen the Sustainer of Heavenly. The Sustainer. The Hydro Dragon reincarnated, received his powers and authority back. What is going to be the point in which they wake up? We're learning all about this. Beings are being created and more world building. Yet also within this realm, I feel like we're not experiencing because we're introduced that, oh, the heavenly principles, Celestia has things on a tight lock. When people are just wilding out in Tevat. Renova is still functional and speaking, so there is something there. Okay. This may be the most tinfoil hat take, but I really have to wonder if, I don't know how it works, but is Renova, could she have been a moon sister? When I think to the frost moon that fell, and then you see that crimson, I'm pretty sure it's the frost moon. Hold on. Let me double take. Squints. Okay, so there is... When the iridescent moon shattered, the crimson shadow sank into the abyssal sea. That is the same image again. When the frost moon ceased to turn, nations faltered and fell to ruin. And then there's the actual crimson, the shadow falling into the the sea, the abyss. Like, I have to wonder if the Moon Sisters, or at least one of them, Renova, were the previous moons. But then once again, there is that really strange, like, the ancient moon fragments we saw in the sky are ancient dragon constructs. They are artificial. But if Renova is a moon sister, and we know that the primordial one was created, or not created, they have arrived and humans, and the shades were created by the primordial one. How can she be created dragons and the primordial one at the same time? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm like trying to piece this together because obviously it's very on the nose. Renova, Paranary, red eye in the sky. Well, 7 eyes, I should say, because there's like the big, huge eye, the smaller eyes, and you know. I bet Dotore wants to know. Oh, you know he's all over it. Dotore is just, he is over there. Meanwhile, Piero, quiet. Colombina, who knows? Maybe she wants the world to burn. I don't know. Miss Angel herself, I don't blame her. But to me, it's hilarious because, not actually hilarious, but hilarious, parentheses, I'm losing my mind. I think the easiest would be the iridescent moon. And we clearly see how Crimson shenanigans with her. I can see if the primordial one took the pieces of what dragons created and then remade a new one in their image. This is also possible because we've seen through time and time again, oh, we saw you created that. You leave, I'm going to take over and I'm going to do it better than you did. I'm going to create something and strip it from you now that I've defeated you. Columbina's just in the booth working on her gospel album. Yep. Good for her. She has her own prerogative and I support her. Also, the eternal moon, eternity. Hello, Raiden A, Raiden Mayverse. First and foremost, I'm not going to get into any form of Honkai lore. I don't know anything about Honkai like that, so I will not tread where I am not welcome. And I mainly joke, but I don't want to speak on something I do not have proper knowledge of. So I will leave that to the Honkaians out there. So Columbina and Renova are 2 shards of the same whole. Well, that's another thing. Duality is a constant theme in Genshin Impact. You have the Traveler, their twin. You have Nahida Rukkhadevata. You have Furina Focalor. You have A, Makoto, Rogan, and Armu / Wander. You know, you get my point. And frankly, because the Traveler is such an interesting case, having come from their own world and civilization, that was destroyed. We don't know why it was destroyed, by the way. The sibling is recorded. If I'm remembering correctly, the sibling is recorded in Irminsul, correct? But the Traveler is not. So, like, who's to say if the Traveler's connection to the Abyss sibling is even real? Like, this is something that's been in my mind for the longest time, in the sense of how valid is this even? Like, the Traveler has been, like, they are told, this is my sibling. I need to find them. They know the truth, etc., etc. But, like, duality has proven time and time again that I'm in the camp of the Travelers aren't actual twins. I think one of them isn't real. Personally, I also am in, I'm strongly leaning towards that. And I think what really cemented that was when we learned that the Abyss sibling was not in Irminsul. or the Abyss sibling wasn't Irminsul, and the Traveler wasn't. Like, I didn't mean to deviate into the Traveler, but the topic of duality is always something that's been very interesting to me, because I really do like how they continue this every single time. And like, even on that note with duality, again, Traveler, their sibling in quotations, Nahida Rukadavata, A and Makoto, Furina Focalor, um, like, and then with Gnosis, such a real thing. I say, like, it's such a deeply ingrained basis. It just makes, and then like, I feel like you could even go so far as to say, I won't go that far, but like, the cracks are just showing, and I'm just this is just so fun for me. My brain is breaking, but I'm having fun. That definitely won't be clipped out of context. No one will remember that. Oh, but also on that note, like, now that I'm thinking about the Travelers more, there's a really old point that I had with my one of my like friends was, and I think it's interesting now because we're learning more about beings create, like, not saying it didn't happen before, but like how Conrians constructing things, modifying people. Who's to say when they summoned whichever one of them that they also just didn't, like, because they clearly modified the Abyss sibling so that they would absorb abyssal energy, correct? Hold on.
지나친 수식은
Oh, game. I didn't mean to do that. It was it in the wing glider? Did I read that? I need to find it. I will find it. I will find it. Here it is. Later, the young knight was promoted, Dainsleif, and the title Twilight Sword bestowed upon him. As for the royal heir with the golden hair, he was led by the last Vinster king down, down, down to the kingdom's deepest depths. The young knight, initially intending only to save his older brother, Bertelfnir, who had been imprisoned and blinded in both eyes for giving an oracle, the young knight gathered the brilliant young ones of his age. Their righteous deed, that of saving the nation, was but a deed done in passing. But the golden-haired heir was used as a vessel by which unlimited abyssal power could be absorbed, and he became the key to the world's near annihilation. So for me, I think it could be completely possible if, whether it's the Traveler or perhaps it was the Abyss sibling, this is also a long-standing theory that they were just one being who were separated into two, or whose consciousness were separated. Like, I've always just been very hesitant on talking about like Traveler lore, especially on Twitter, just because things can get kind of spicy there. But for me, I just always found it perplexing that the Traveler and this sibling, their sibling, excuse me, like, one is recorded and the other is not. Well, it's because of question mark, you're just special. And I don't think that that's just the case. It could be more along the lines of, in a similar function to how, not exactly, like how Ryandotir created Albedo, perhaps the Conrians whoever it was during the period, whether it's Lithin or if it was Aether. In my game's case, it's Aether. Once they were successfully summoned, they were split in two, and the Traveler now has the responsibility to uncover the truth while also somehow being, what's the word? Granted, they're not so infallible that they can do it all as to why they're still gaining their powers. But they clearly have much more leeway than other individuals do in accordance to Tavat's laws. I understand that they can work out of it, around it, because they're a quote unquote descender, but I still feel like the Traveler is, I don't know, maybe I'm just leaning too hard into this, but I feel like the duality aspect of them is just too strong. I really feel like they were one of the same, like a same being, which is why they're just like, hey, having siblings is the easiest method to do. But so it's something I always think about. But I say all this to wrap back around to constructs and all of that. We just learned that Capitano was modified to be able to perform in such a way. And like reading Men of Lithin, that is essentially a beings who wish not to return to the collective conscious and want to be separate, it's perplexing to me. Same people who gave Capitano a heart pro max wouldn't be surprised if they somehow split the twins and the Traveler was half left with more power. I would completely, I could see that. It's just because I find it so curious that they just do not exist in Tavat like that. But then now I'm thinking about Albedo and Reindotir, and I don't want to go down that route because that'd just be that's just a whole Traveler discussion and theories and stuff, which is fun. But wrapping this back to Men of Lithin, I think it's like, I think there are many possibilities. Yeah, Barry, I agree. Like, A created Wander or Scaramouche, created Show, and it's something that I've really thought about. And if I'm wrong, I will happily accept that. But I really do feel like they were once one being split into two. It wouldn't be remiss considering, well, what we've had so far. But who knows? Maybe it's like a sense of they were once one person. Maybe one was cloned or something. A consciousness was put into one and the other one was given false memories. One has more powers because question mark Conrian I'm on, who knows, kind of thing. So I'm just spitballing, but I feel like this music. Also, I do find it really funny how the chasm is like, I will come in now. It's time for my OST. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh, I just realized it is March. You're getting a Dainsliff quest soon. I am not prepared for that. Hello? I mean, assuming it's going to be in March because it has been in previous years, but I don't remember when his was last year actually. How much they mirror each other, and that mirror scene too, how they freaked out seeing the other one reflection. Well, and that's the thing. Like, they're mirrors of each other, but I truly feel like there's something more there. I mean, I eat up one being split into two every single time. I do. I just like seeing how it's done differently because there will be moments in time where I still don't expect it. Can't wait for Dainsleif to tell us about how he's a formal resident of Sumeru now. I can't wait for him to say like 3 lines and then be like, well, goodbye. The next time you see me, we will have to fight to the death. I'll be like, oh. Like, the idea that like the traveler realizing that what they've been told in terms of like their relationship with their sibling was not actually real and they're false memories. Oh, this is just angst. This is just this is just angst because I'm just but the next time we meet, I'll tell you about your mother, Jon Snow. Zhongli called us the record keeper. As Traveler went from world to world, there's a context missing as to where they came from. Given that upon landing, we woke up 500 years later from our sibling, quote unquote, arrived, it's possible that the one we considered our sibling is actually a reference of the same person in a different universe. But in this case, we have a gender opposite of who we are, and essentially we are experiencing the world through their eyes, where the rules don't apply. But the memories of the planet could very well be our dual persona, aka our sibling, or perhaps the leftover memories where we've experienced the world they've lost. So the thing, like, I literally, this was Moon Sister, and then Men of Lithin broke me, and then the Travelers are repairing me. The Traveler and their siblings are just, because I find this conversation fun. I really do. So for me, I think they were originally one and the same. For the longest time, I felt like they were one and the same. Their consciousness was split in two. I can't say for their soul, because I feel like soul is complete, like it can be in its own entire different thing. And because perhaps the sibling being summoned in Conria, like they were altered to absorb abyssal power. Maybe they also removed the part of them that they just created a backup, a clone or something. I have no idea. I feel like there's duality there. If they were their own persons, that's cool too. But I also will not be surprised if they were one and the same, and their consciousness and or soul was split because of some means, or Conrian meddling. Because as we've established, Conria does and can do that. Not to mention, again, we don't know why Rhindotir was doing the Primordial Human Project. Maybe she was trying to create her own version of the Traveler that was of the Abyss sibling who was successfully summoned. Or maybe she just wanted to do it. So, also, like, cosmic entities, angels. Like, we got angel lore, but we didn't get nearly as much as I wanted. And I'm also thinking back to Canatilla and what she said about the Traveler in Paimon. Where is she? Where is she? Oh? Is it about...
심야는 가장 치명적인 형태로 티바트에 나타나. 수메르에서는 금단의 지식이었고 나타에서는 마무리였지. 그래서 수메르의 수많은 경험으로도 그녀를 도울 수 없어서 죄책감이 들었었어. 그래도 위기가 해결돼서 정말 다행이야. 마비카가 나타 사람들이 수메르에 놀러 올 거라고 하던데 그들을 열렬히 환영해주려고 준비도 모두 끝내뒀어.
Also, in this wasn't the voice line I was looking for.
하늘의 눈은 대지의 아름다움을 지켜보기 위해 생겼지. 그런데 이미 눈을 가진 인간들은 어째서 신의 눈으로 세상을 관찰하려 할까? 이 문제의 답은 똑똑한 너라면 알 수 있겠지?
The reason I'm just like thinking about this is because in the Men of Lithin, I don't want to say like I'm haunted by it, but the idea of, okay, creating these beings and the beings that we create are unable to see the truth of the world. TLDR, very loosely. And Nahida here speaks about how humans can already see, but I believe this is implying that they're being fooled via their, well, visions. They're looking through the eyes of the god, not their own actual eyes. Even though they are quote unquote, no, actually, I'll just leave it there. Oh, my apologies. I am sorry if you heard that. I almost dropped my microphone. See, now I'm just rambling because I'm just having so much fun. I'm quiet because there's so I wish I could show how my brain works. Because I don't like being quiet. I'm a very bad host for just being quiet while I'm streaming. So I wish my brain is not working. I'm confusing everyone by listening to this. I'm so sorry for VOD watchers. I was so excited, but I feel so bad not having a formal, like, here's an outline of everything that I have completely 100%, because I still have to re-evaluate what I just went over. But I also need to learn to give myself grace, because that's what speculation is about. And that's what learning, learning. Where is it? Okay. Do we think the Moon Sisters are real or artificial? Because now I'm currently I'm unsure. I don't know what to believe. Where? Here we go. Sorry if you heard that again. Because now I personally think that I believe that the Moon Sisters were real, but I believe once they suffered that great calamity, I think they were just being remade. in the form of the shade. Or they just, I don't want to say naturally. I don't think that's proper phrase. Just became free of the shades. Like, I do believe that they were created for this world. Who maybe not even created to right. Perhaps they were just innately here. But ever since Malvika said that they were ancient dragon or ancient moon fragments that were, oops. Actually, let me see if my game will be able to, oh my gosh, if my game will be able to load this. Where is it? Oh my gosh. I will find it. Man, I wish I could control F in... Oh. Oh, I wish I could control F in the archive. I really do. It's specifically where she talks about it being an ancient moon fragment. She's like, oh yeah, the thing you saw in the sky. Anyway, I got information that that's what it was. Which I know it's in this act. I just don't remember where it is at the end. Oh my gosh. Excuse me, I feel so bad. I'm all over the place. Also, I do feel vindicated because I'm like, oh, well, Malvika probably won't die, so someone has to substitute in for her. And lo and behold. Where? Okay. Maybe I just can't. I can't find it right now, but... Wait. Okay, no. Oh, I guess it doesn't show all of the... I remember selecting all of the different options for this, but I suppose it doesn't show them all. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong place. That's unfortunate. Either way. Yeah, her saying that it's an ancient moon fragment is what? Oh, 5.1? I thought it was 5.3. Let me... You know what? Hold on. To make this easier on myself. I literally looked at this earlier. And I will find it again. Okay. So it is in... Yes, it's in the final... I went to the Genshin Wiki. It is in the final dialogue. Not the final dialogue, but at the end of Act 5, where when you as the traveler ask her about the next step on my journey, she replies with, a direct conflict with the Fatui is unavoidable the moment you step foot in Snezhnaya. So make sure you're ready for any scenario. On a related note, I've acquired some new intel about the fragment that suddenly appeared in the sky. Such fragments are known as ancient moon's remnants, relics of secret source technology from the era of the ancient dragons. Coincidentally, A small squad of Fatui infiltrated our borders around the same time it happened. It appeared, excuse me. Our investigation revealed them to be subordinates of the Doctor. Their stronghold is in Nod Krai, a land with a long history not far from Shnesnaya. The people there can use a very special power. It is said that this mysterious power predates even the 7 elements of Tavat. Ancient Moon's remnants, the Doctor, a mysterious power. The project that connects all 3 must be ambitious indeed. And that is what she says. Oh, really? So much happened? Yeah, that's why I was just like, I think it was at the end. But was it? Maybe it was maybe it was something else. Why I don't remember any of that? Well, I remember selecting all of those options and I remember taking a capture footage of it and screenshots. Like I remember that, but I didn't know where it was. In the end of 5.1, she only says she'll investigate it. That sounds about right, yeah. Like we'll look more into what's happening. So that's also, I don't think I put a marker on the map for me where you can go and view the false sky after the Archon quest. Or not the false sky, I should just say the glitch in the sky. I really thought that I had marked it, but I guess not. Oh, yes, I did. I did. And you have to, I don't think they patched it out, but I know you could get there if you had like Zhongli and, well, not the false guy, but all the broken remnants. Man, is it just me? But like, where is it? Yeah, it's right here. You can see it anywhere in Natlan? Oh my gosh, I thought you had to be... I could have swore there was a period of time you couldn't look at this. Oh wait, no. You couldn't view it because they didn't implement, I think, the Masters of the Nightwind area yet. So you couldn't go forward. I think that's what that was. But this is just so fascinating to me because, like, you can only see this in Natlan. Only. Because I believe I tried to look at it from, like, different angles in different regions and you just can't do it. You tested it, it disappears when you leave. Okay, yeah. This is not the lore character I meant. This is the lore character I meant. So, I understand that it's raining right now, so... Venti, you will be okay. But also in the web event, I found it really curious that the solar system itself just looks like Venti's E. Like it literally just has the patterns of his E. And I understand, yes, they reuse shapes and designs and things like that, but no, I think it's very... I feel like it would only be fitting considering... being a fragment of the god of time and moments, also being able to have such a role in uncovering like the moon, the new moon. But if you stand by the crater where the moon chunk is, you can see it from there too. Oh, interesting. I love the story of this game. I know I brain fart a lot with it, but like it's just so... It's so interesting. Okay, keyboard. Aw, baby. I could just fast forward time and see if it would stop raining, but... Oh, there's a world quest up here? Oh, I didn't know there was a world quest up here. See, this is embarrassing. Like, this is just so fascinating to me. You just have the ancient moon fragments. Dragons created this? This is what the game is telling me? I need Venti so bad. He's the final Archon to have them all. I am sure he will have a rerun in due time. and he is waiting for you. He's very baby. Even the Natlands NPC that is in Mondstadt mentions that whenever he talks about the fragments in the sky, people look at him weirdly because nobody outside of Natlan can see him. Oh my gosh, really? See, I haven't been checking up with like NPCs like that in a while. I didn't even know that. That's even, oh, okay. I didn't know it was going to trigger this. Is this a world? Okay, this is a world quest. Oh, this Cucusaur is very upset. Is this a baby? Oh, I guess we're rescuing someone. We're rescuing someone now. It's level 101. This team is not gonna do it. If I'm being honest. No. I'm just gonna leave. I just want to look at the... Wait, where'd it go? I'm actually like... Where did it go? I'm all discombobulated now. Hold on, I'm going over here again. The NPC is at the docks. Like the... Which docks specifically? Oh wait, no. Mondstadt. Hold on. Shout out Nameless Isle. Also, Venti's symbols appear there too. Let me go to Mondstadt. Actually, I want to listen to this. It is comfy. Okay, let me go to the docks. Oh wait, where? How strange. It's like they can only be seen from inside Nadlin. You mean goodbye. The traveler has had enough. Yes, I speak of the unknown fragments that appeared in the sky during the battle against the Abyss. At first, we thought they were abyssal weapons, poised to descend upon us and bring destruction in their wake. But then, they just hung there doing nothing. Later, someone said they resembled ancient relics from our western mountains. I went to see for myself, and they were indeed remarkably similar. Oh dear, where are my manners? I haven't even told you who I am. I'm from the Natlan Saurian Relics Association, and I'm out here doing field work. Don't think for a second that this is a holiday. How's the research coming along? Poorly, I'm afraid. It seems the more I look into it, the more questions I have. Why is it that as soon as one leaves Natlan, the fragments seem to disappear? On the road here, I asked many an Outlander, but all they gave me were funny looks. None of them seemed to know what I was talking about. Then again, if I ran into a strange traveler from another land who was raving about a hole in the sky that I couldn't see, I'd probably think it was odd myself. Well, not that I'm a traveler, obviously, I'm a researcher. That was just a hypothetical statement. I love that they did this. I love that they did this because quite literally everyone in the lore community was like, so cool. I love that. See, I'm so far behind. I didn't even know they had an NPC who focuses on that. Does anyone else remember when Lieben mentioned the possibility of other stars and planets out there, and we make a joking comment about blazing a trail? HSR reference? Oh, absolutely, definitely. No, I know, but it's such a wild comment from an NPC. Like, what does Lieben know? I think Lieben, in my delusional brain, I personally was like, Lieben is like some cosmic entity that is just in here for funsies. Because why not? Why not? He's always in the know. Lieben is Kevin Honkai in disguise. I know. Kevin Kaslana being Genshin would be the being Lieben. I don't know about that. Oh, I didn't mean to like click on Economia, but so to those who did the web event and have seen the brightened image of what appears to be possibly Nod Cry, did we also notice that like the arches look very similar to Mondstadt arches? Like that same architecture? Kevin dyed his hair and styled it like Elvis. He gave himself a pompadour and said, you're not, nope. I will just be here. This is my duty now. I need to go to the Thousand Winds Temple. Let's see. I suppose it would be fitting if I was here as Venti. Because I do remember in the actual image itself, there was a full arch. Of course, you can't view the entire arch in clarity. That's clearly purposeful because we won't get it for quite some time. But to those who are who's been paying attention to architecture, notice how like it varies from different regions, even though they're all from ancient peoples. I really don't want to aggro this ruin guard, but I feel I should just get rid of it. This team is just rude, though. Oh, I didn't mean that. Okay. This is my I don't feel like doing anything team, and then things explode. Shout out Nilu, and Furina, and Kokomi, and Nahi Nahi. But no, like when you look at these arches, okay, you're very baby Nahida. These arches are just so similar to the ones that we saw in, like when you turn up the brightness. Yes, I understand that one could easily just be like, well, it's an arch. Of course, they all look similar, but no, it's a very specific type of architecture that they use in this game for ancient civilizations every single time. Like you have these, this form of architecture. You also have like the Enkanomian architecture. And I think it's very purposeful. So until obviously we get a bit more information, I feel like I will hold off, but I really do feel like it was very similar to the these arches. Because which other arches would they really look like? Well, actually, hold on. Because there's Enkanomia. There is Mondstadt. And then like the Shirikoro murals. Murals, like... Actually, I can just go there. Inazuma. I don't know why it took me so long. Sorry. Oh, Tsurumi Island. Like, let me go here. Also, shout out to those who love the murals. I went to the wrong one, but it's fine. I need to go to which... It was this one. Even though I didn't need to go down this way. Let's see. Me putting Albedo and Aether in every team, I'm sure will be fine. I have just made the decision that I'm going to play the rest of Genshin Impact with the Traveler. At least in my team. Because I have not done that in quite so long. Quite so long? No. In a while, TM. And I feel like that's a disservice, especially considering how much I... Okay. I don't want to deal with... I could have just ran past you, but no. See, this team has no cohesion. I just do it because lore. These are my lore babies. So I'm just like, yep. We have no healer. No healer. They're oh, I'm still alive. There are also guardians down here, if I remember. Not guardians, but like the... Oh, that's right. I cleared them out earlier. Okay, so... Give Mona prototype Amber. No, she's going to have Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds. So, I think Inazuma is what also really made the world building so much more interesting for me because of Enkanomiya. As well as, well, just more ancient civilizations. And because we got murals. Like these murals. Because when I see moons and stars, I go thinky. I go thinky mode. I originally came here to look at the architecture, but then I just completely like zoned out because I'm like, there are murals here. I sense the murals. This one has the writing up there. That's not good. This one has the writing up there that says, to the wise, the sky is false, to my understanding, if I remember correctly. And the reason it's coming back slowly is because I spent hours decoding this with friends in C on Discord like 3-4 years ago. I remember vividly. And we were like posting a lot trying to figure out what it was. I think Leah may have also been in that call, but it was just such a good time because we were screaming about the Latin text here. Because this one is like to the watchful, the skies are false. Trying to remember. I'm blinking right now. I remember one being the skies are false. Another one being that because there were multiple ones were in reference to Catullus 34. And then just, you know, singing praise of Diana. However, they also once again reaffirmed what Garamush was like, oh, hey, the sky is fake, by the way. But yeah, if you like look at the architecture here, I need to make sure I didn't like drown. Look at the architecture here. Mondstadt. It's very similar. I believe Dragonspine as well, and we'll go there next. Also, hello, friend. Hello, Moon. I don't believe it's this one. This one may have been the one that says that originally I translated it as you were false and insignificant in the light of the moons. But I think it's like, I think it's something completely different. Good night, Moon. Okay, I'm pretty sure like the secret mural that you have to go out of your way to find. And I call it secret because if you actually don't do it, you will never see this mural. I believe it's down here. And I love me some murals. I can't remember where the Chenyu Vale murals were. I remember seeing them, taking pictures of them, but I need to find their locations again. Let's see. So yeah, you have to come down here, go up here, climb up this route, I believe there might have been like a precious chest or something like that up here at one period of time. Oh, Venti. I'm gonna wait for my stamina to come back, but let's see. Ooh, but having every element of the Traveler build is so good. I only have Dendro, I think. How did I get up here last time? I think I got up here like earlier and I just didn't think about it. Okay. So you come here and then you look up. And here is the mural of the bleeding, like the dripping moon. I think it's better to look at it like this. Kind of. I remember when I first saw it, it genuinely spooked me because I was just like, oh, my camera's really strange here and I'm just here to get an item. But because I had previously looked for murals, I also was just combing over every surface to see if there was anything I missed. And lo and behold, I have to wonder how many people have never seen this because they didn't look up. Because it's really easy to miss. It really is. And here it reads, that arrow looks so strange. But that text over there is talking about, as a TLDR, let us chaste boys and girls sing to the moons, or sing of the moons. Those are the sands of time leaking out. Yes. It's the sands of time leaking. It's also the crimson moon falling or something. No, I tease because like you can clearly see the water and how trees are being submerged due to the calamity that befell here. It'll be faster if I traverse as Mona, because Mona is comfy. Have we had... I think we've had murals in every single region. Yes, I believe we have. Because we've had Dragonspine. Mondstadt was Dragonspine. Wait. I'm blanking. Liyue? Oh, Chenyu Vale. Chenyu Vale. Here and the Shirikoro. Just Tsurumi Island. Sumeru... I'm blanking on Sumeru's. Question mark? And then Natlands I'll go to next, but like... Also, to those who do like going back to murals, definitely pin them like on the map. So you can just revisit it at any time. Where is Natlan? Dasherit's pyramids, thank you, thank you. I'm like, we had so much. I know it's like we did not have murals because we did. They were deep in the mausoleum, which also was so cool. Let's not talk about, wait, I think it was this one. Fontaine had the prophecy murals, but we can't revisit those. This is true. They did technically have the prophecy murals. I thought by some means we were able to revisit them, but also this just made me so sad. I forgot that I had this. Hello, formerly one being. Because to those who play Kari Bear, remember how this just didn't even happen. It happened, but didn't happen. Deshret pyramids made me claustrophobic. I was so lost in them. The thing is with Deshret's pyramids, they didn't implement the lower level, like the lower layer map feature until well after people had already trudged through the desert. Now, personally, I enjoyed it was just very difficult and confusing at times. But that was the point of pyramids. Uh, so it wasn't meant to just be, oh, I should not have seen something. I like went to a Discord of like a character getting a new skin and I just got sidetracked. Anyway, um, for this, it made me sad. I feel like people either love or hate the desert. Oh, absolutely. There is no in between. Because the people who claim that they're in between when it comes to the desert probably don't remember it as a defense mechanism. I'm going to be silly. I think their mind has just removed any trace of the desert. So they're just like, I don't care. Now, for me, Sumeru was fantastic. Lore-wise, I ate it up. King Deshret, really silly. Nabu Malikata, love her dearly. Rukkhadevata, 07. Deshret's Civilizations, very interesting. It was I agree, it was very immersive and there was just so much. But I completely understand and I do not blame people who never want to touch that region again. Because I haven't even still 100% the rainforest. But I think I 100% the desert. So I was just so involved. Oh, that's so... Huh. Yeah, for me, I really thought we could just revisit the desert. I guess not. Not revisit the desert. Revisit the Fontaine prophecy. Ooh. I know I have already played it, but like I must play it again. And Kanomiya's music is too good for me. I must. Okay. So where keyboard please. I feel like I'm gonna huff so much Capitano will be playable. Genuinely speaking, I don't mind if he's not playable. Like it's not the end of the world for me. Would it be interesting? Of course. I love my Conrians. I want to collect them all. They are my Pokemon. But also it's fine. I came down here to look at a very, very relevant mural, and I think I may be in the wrong area. Actually, no, I'm not. Oh, that works. Actually, hold on. We have, was it? Okay. Basically a total of 5 murals. Because you have this one. You have the one that you can't visit, I believe, in the cutscene with Ubicon. Then when you go on the world quest with your the Petlosaurus, you have the giant one of Shibalanke, and I need Piero to be playable. I need Old Man Piero. I don't know why I feel like they won't make him playable. I don't like, and I'm not even saying that to be like contrarian. If he was, that would be fantastic. But I can see them not doing that. But like, okay. Because there's this mural, the one that was in the cutscene in the world quest for Ojkanatlan that I do not believe you can revisit. And then there was the 3 that you see when you're on your world quest with your Tepetlosaur. I think that's a total of 5 murals in Atlan. Let me be copium. You be copium. I support you in your copium. I do. I am very sorry. I should not speak such evils into the world. I will let everyone dream peacefully, just like Rukkhadevata would have. Okay, so if we also remember in the other mural that also depicts something like this very similarly. We literally see, hello, very big Dwago. I wonder who you are. Oh, what is this? There is a very interesting world here. What is this? Oh, these are very interesting 3 moons. Piero feels too OP to be playable, but it would also be so funny to read his birthday voice lines. I do not disagree with this statement. No, you're totally fine. I know it's probably not going to happen, but it would be so nice to have Varka and Piero. I think I'm going to say I think they forgot about Varka, but they have not. I trust Hoyoverse knows what they want to do with the characters they wish to market. But I do think it's a very strange, not strange, it's just a coincidence about all the dragon stuff and sisters and the event. That's just it's so interesting. How, because you have, like, you look at this mural and it's like, I wonder who this is. Who do we think this is, chat? Smile. Just a jolly old friend, huh? Though curiously, I've been trying to see if the entirety of the wall is supposed to be his body. What an interesting coinky dink the wagons, moon in the world, wee just a wee reptile. Yep. This is Charizard. Probably not a primordial dragon, not at all. Speaking of primordial dragons, a trope I will always love in everything fantasy ever. I will eat it up every single time. Smay, this is not you. You hush. But I think it's hilarious how every single time there's a primordial dragon, like, again, I eat it up, but also the ancient world tied to them is so fantastic. It's the same thing with Final Fantasy XIV. I didn't know you were just, are you this dragon now, Smay? Because if you are this dragon, that means that is a lot of implications. Do you wish to take all of these implications? Draconic storytelling buffs go crazy. They do. And I will eat it up every single time because I love it. It's so fun to do. So I'm looking at these. And I love how you do just see 3 moons. Like 3 moons and then the sun. Hold on, let me squint. Why am I okay, it's over here. Right? No. I need to remember. Also, this thing horrified me. I literally was exploring Natlan and I didn't know what was going on because I was behind. And this scared me and I was like, I'm leaving. Goodbye. No, thank you. All of this makes Nicolette feel so standing man. Nicolette will remain one of the funniest characters to me. I'm very happy, you know, he got, you know, he has his authority back and stuff, but he's literally so standing man. Am I forgetting where I thought this mural was where you went with your Tepetlosaur. I thought it was this one, but I think I might be misremembering. I thought it was over in this area. I don't know. I don't think it's that one. Does it kind of look like the dragon is chained up, or am I projecting Exodia onto things lacking in exodiousness again? Well, I can't say that it would be against maybe the primordial one and its shades, quotation, question mark, to try and chain up Nibelung. Who, by the way, a Pep was like, he's reincarnated, by the way. Like, we're just lying in the cut till he wants to do something, which I again think is hilarious. Because the way that I view everything in Genshin is no one is truly dead in quotations. Close to the children of echoes. Okay, thank you. I was like, I know it's over here. Also, welcome, Nanami. Welcome, welcome. I went to the... I just went to this one. I could have also just... Also, shout out the Traveler, because this could not and never would be me. I feel like the music is loud. I think it's fine. I think I'm just too quiet a lot of the time. My voice cuts out. I believe Nibelung was on the left and then Chibalanke was on the right, if I remember correctly. We love somber cello, of course. It's fitting. It describes the dragons. Speaking of which, hi, person. Okay, so I also want to discuss this. Is this Nibelung, or is this supposed to be the corrupted Pyro Sovereign? Because in the previous statue that we just saw, the dragons, specifically their faces, are depicted as different. That angel is getting cooked. So the thing is, I think, is supposed to be representative is this angel, well, the last of the angels who could presumably be the Lord of the Night, desperately attempted to save Irminsul, even though the Pyro Sovereign was like, no, I'm going to kill you all. Because for the longest time, I thought this was King Nibelung. But then I saw the other mural, and I'm like... Well, see, and that's the thing. Originally, I thought it was Nibelung. Then I debated, thinking it was just the corrupted Pyro Sovereign. I'm blanking on its name, but I will find it in this name card. Oh, Shuquaddle. That was the name. It is like black here, and I think, hold on. Unfortunately, they reuse like the same kind of face for it. But yeah, I think it's supposed to be Shuquaddle that was corrupted. The thing is, I wish they kind of, well, I understand why they wouldn't, because they don't want things to be too, they still want us to guess. They want you to piece together things. But I wish, like, if it was Nibelung, you make it very, this is not what I meant to select. Go to the bottom. We talk about how this dragon design is, it's so, like, how do I want to describe it? I like it. It's giving, also, I wish I could zoom in, because I love the abyssal energy flowing through it. I love that, so in English, did they pronounce it as Gosatoth? Evil butterfly with swords. Yeah. Fell dragon. Also, sorry, the phrase fell dragon will always love. Thank you, Dark Souls. Like, it really, to me, looks like a 2000, like an early 2000s, like not Pokemon or Digimon kind of thing, but it's giving that. Evil Twilight from Equestria Girls. I'm screaming. That's so funny. I'm just gonna say this is Evil Twilight now. Evil Twilight, please. I also really want to have, like, I know I once again deeply apologize. 30 minutes on the stream earlier. I just couldn't form any coherent sentences after reading Men of Lithin. But I promise you that's exactly what happens every time I read something because I'm not sure how I want to form my words. So I need to come back to it. And I promise I'll have more of a I don't say statement, that sounds way too formal, but like a better outline of how I do things. Have you noticed that so far all sovereign dragons we see have the snake-like body and not the European one with legs? Yes. So this is something that I wish I need to do better about bookmarking things, but there was a fabulous Reddit post about this, and I also believe that there was a separate person who made a similar post on Reddit. Well, Reddit and then Twitter, excuse me, who talked about how many of the dragons are more serpentine-like, and I like that they're more serpentine and not necessarily like they all have a very specific form. I can't remember if there was like a behind the scenes about dragons specifically. I think the most recent one we had was about like maybe Fontaine's enemies or the constructs, but I do like that attention to detail. And thank you for bringing that up. A fell dragon congealed from the power of pitch black darkness, a monster of the void known as both the Reaper of the Abyss and Ghost of Thoth. It is able to corrupt memories contained within the ley lines of the earth, congealing them into tangible forces of catastrophic portent. From these memories that since time immemorial have flowed below the land, it has managed to extract the remnant will of a primordial elemental dragon sovereign, drawing it out like marrow to repurpose as its foundation of its own fabricated image. But is it truly a mere image? Brought back by the very otherworldly forces it had once resisted, a once dead dragon opens its eyes anew, forsaking all in this brief dream of a resurrection. Trapped perpetually in the final day of its existence by this pitch black gospel, its boundless fury has consumed all reason. Now what remains is its unrelenting lust for battle, burning on without end. Perpetual meantime, yes, everything connects to Dainsliff. I'm happy you also picked up on that, Ela. But this is also, even though it's not supposed to be like, aw, how sad, it's to me like, aw, how sad, because imagine being dead and then the abyss is like, I'm gonna replicate you by drawing on your energy and memories that were in the ley lines, and now you're reliving your last day, by the way. Apep and the Pyro Sovereign have all been longs. We haven't seen the other sovereigns. I feel like Nouvelette is probably also like that. Nouvelette just gives me noodle energy, so. She noodle. Also, she's the funniest. She's the funniest sovereign. I still stand by that statement. Nouvelette is second funniest. Because she hates everyone, and good for her. Nouvelette kind of leaked the dragon design with that ladle. See, I'm happy we're on the same wavelength. Because he absolutely is. That's what he looks like. I'm pretty sure it's like teapot stuff. One moment. Oh my gosh. I feel like it's gonna take a moment. Let's see. Oh wait, or is it like with this? No, it's not. Also, Anonymy, I will message you as soon as I am able. I am very sorry to hear that. But I'll message you when I can. I know I have it in my inventory somewhere because I made sure to do that event because I desperately wanted to have it. Either way, it's very cute. I'll find it one day. That's not even a pep. That's a guardian of her oasis thingy. Okay, this is true. However, a pep is still very funny. And I really love her. Nahida's like, we have to give you a bath. We have to cleanse you of your abyssal corruption. We literally cannot. You will destroy all of Sumeru. And Apep was like, good. I want you all to suffer. I want you all to no longer be. It's your reason. It's your fault we're even in this situation to begin with. If you all had just minded your business. And Nahida's like, no, please come to reason. You're just cranky because you haven't had a Snickers. And then she was like, fine, I accept these terms. Stinky girl fail, Apep. I wouldn't say she's a girl fail. I think she's about her business. And she really did say before she left, I can't wait until this world burns and I will laugh when you get corrupted and die, Nahida. I said, that is so cold. I have to respect it, to be honest. She said she was a pep. I can't even say big mad. Just catastrophically upset. Like, I don't even know how to describe a pep. She is so funny. I don't think they left. I think we left. I'm sorry. Like, so funny. I think people don't understand how. And she's standing by that too. She's like, I'll wait. Eventually. Eventually you will fall. I will laugh. Actually, no. I'm curious now. See, we're talking about dragons now, and I love her so much. You could just make a compilation of oh wait, no, it's story quests. Oh wait, no, it would still be travelogue, I think. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we've had so many. Was that the first one or the second one? I'm pretty sure it was the second one. Oh my goodness. Time for me to go walkies? Well, I hope you enjoy your walk. Actually, I feel like all of this is relevant still.
그들의 지식과 기여 그리고 감정은 힘으로 역전되어 방출됐으니 당연히 대답할 수 없지.
She sounds like an angry grandmother. I love her. Hold on. Where is it? Yeah, she was like, yeah, we didn't want you guys taking over us, so we all just use forbidden knowledge. Nibelung was like, I'm gonna use this. We all followed because, yep. Where is it? Yep. Tiny Boer and the rest of you, continue forward. I shall keep a watchful eye. How far will the life so dear and precious, the heavenly principles, be able to go, I wonder? She is waiting. She is waiting. I think when they first met her, she was even angrier, but that's hilarious.
작은 부해로 그리고 인간들이여 계속 나아가 보거라. 내 지켜볼 것이니 천리가 소중히 여기는 생명이 어디까지 갈 수 있는지 말이다.
She is so funny. She said, nope. I'm so sad because I wanted to read her like very first meeting when she's like, oh no, I can't wait until you D-word Nahida. I will destroy this entire world before I even talk to an Archon. Get away from me. Which I honestly respect, because everyone for the most part is like, yeah, we're fine. No, I think some pushback is appropriate. Also, welcome, Kent. I hope you are also comfy. She sounds cranky in English. Yeah, I believe it. That's good. So, okay, if I want to recap. Moon Sisters, that lore is still cooking in my brain because, one, I hesitate to, again, make any character as a one-to-one. But I do think there are characters that you can elaborate possibilities. Because again, we're not going to know until presumably the last game and over the next few months. Because to my understanding, the web event is for 2 months, right? It'll be updated periodically. On the solar system, like, page, there were 11 total points, 3 being in the middle that I assumed obviously would be in reference to maybe the 3 Moon Sisters. But what were the other 8? Who would the other 8 represent? Well, I say who, I could also be what? Maybe worlds? But like 2 months, and they are now really bringing forward lore that has just been hush hush for years now. And we've all been parroting, we want to see more, but we have to wait. We have to get to X region before we can see. And now we're there. We're at the point where the Moon Sisters lore is front and center. I saw theories that it's the Harbingers. I personally did not consider that. I would definitely look into those theories, though. I'm coping so bad for another Winter Night's Lazo, so I personally think we will have something to that effect, but not with the harp. I think maybe it'll have to involve the Sinners, maybe. Maybe they'll involve the Shades, perhaps. I don't know if they'll be that bold, but they kind of are on a time constraint, so well, I say time constraint. I don't know their schedule. I don't work there. I'm just saying, since we're endgame, it could be a mix of those. It could be the Hexen Circle. So, because again, we really haven't done anything with the Hexen Circle. We get cute little things every here and there with them. But we don't talk about like the leader Alice being so powerful and knowing so much more about the world, and she guards Tefat. So what is her connection to higher powers in that regard? Because mind you, people joke about Venti being weak and all of that. Quickly declined fighting against the Hexen Circle. So I'm really curious to see who that all will be. Because also, I don't know how many people have seen this movie, but when I saw that solar system, it was giving Eris from Sinbad when she was taking a bath in the literal stars of the galaxy. And I'm like, do we have a character like this in Genshin who's just like, I will just pluck from the thread of fate and see what happens with humanity. What are they doing over here? Oh, this isn't nice. So we also have sinners. Well, that's the thing. We have 5 sinners. We have multiple Hexen Circle members. We have Shades. Presumably the primordial one. I will say they can only hold out so long until they give us a reveal. Whether it's in the form of a mural or a cutscene, which honestly I kind of worry about because Twitter's going to be nightmare. YouTube is going to be awful. So we have whatever Zhongli is. Yes, whenever anyone asks me what Zhongli is, I say yes, because you can just use that as an answer for anything about him. Just yes. When is Twitter not on my nightmare though? This is very true, especially in the recent climate. This is completely correct. However, I cannot stress enough. People are already very, very proud to publish the dark arts TM. I do my best to stay away from it because, nope. But when I tell you, when there is new content, people will upload things so quickly and it feels like you don't even have a chance to breathe because you will be spoiled if you're not careful. I avoid the forbidden text where I can, because that's not me. And so, especially because we're endgame, I refuse to chance it by any means necessary. Also, welcome, Rue. I hope you are comfy and doing well. I just feel, but I do want to emphasize this is a leak-free zone, but we don't talk about leaks here at all. That being said, I do look forward to the future of the endgame story because so many pieces will probably wrap up together. Speaking of, we're getting quite a bit of, we're really getting lore, right? So at this point, I am absolutely convinced we're not getting more Pale Princess of the Six Pygmies until we're just in Snezhnaya. At this point, if for some reason they're a Nod Cry, that would be a welcome surprise for me. But I thoroughly believe that we're just going to get the rest of these this night. And if we don't, maybe in Conria. But when we all talked about how this book was endgame, it really was endgame. Because once we got to Natlan, I'm like, okay, maybe the Land of Night has to do with the Lord of Night and the Night Kingdom and all of that. And then the Moonlight Forest, I also was like, what if it has to do with the Three Moon Sisters? What if it's in a deeper connection with like dreams and the samsara somehow, going completely off the rails? But this book, remember, I believe this is the first book, like quest-wise, we really get that the Abyss, because the Abyss, or I'm sorry, but yeah, the Abyss Order loves going after a specific book, and we had to get it back because Lisa was like, we need this book. And to this day, we don't have the other texts. And so now I'm really, really curious where we're going to go. Because I have much catching up to do in terms of Genshin Impact lore-wise. I also need to actually collect all of the books. If there's one thing I want to collect completely in this game, and it's every single book. I have a few pages of this that I need to find, which will make me sad because I have to revisit areas I've already been, but and then I also need to review The Little Witch and the Undying Flame. There are quite a few books I do want to read on stream and actually read after I try to discover more. But Princess Mina and Fallen Nation, Flowers for Princess Fischl, where is it? Oops, sorry if you heard that. Vera's Melancholy, Men of Lithin, Aaron Harry, Time Tracker, Byakko Koku Collection, Moonlit Bamboo Forest, Rex Incognito, and even the Tivat Travel Guide, which also has not been updated in years, which makes me sad. Last time it was updated was in Inazuma. That also makes me question what has Alice been up to. She has not said anything. Years. So those are absolutely books that I always want to revisit, that I need to reread as well, just because I've been so gone, distracted, but also spending time. But because I saw Moon Sister stuff, my mind and brain is just functioning in a different way. As a lover of the anime Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, okay, so Suzumiya Haruhi was quite the experience, and I do appreciate that it's like a sci-fi parallel, and then also has like Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy parallels. So even though it's very sci-fi fiction, it's also very lore-worthy, which is really good too. Like reading that book made me completely accept the oh hey, uh nameless bard. Hello, Ike. kind of thing. Also Legend of the Shattered Halberd. Yep. So what I'm going to do is that I actually want to read Men of Lithin off stream. And I also want to a script for an actual video I want to publish genuinely and not just say that. So I will probably be focused on that for the next few days. Granted, nothing comes up on my end. I do want to stream again in like the next 2 days or so, just because I really miss streaming. But I do think I'm going to end the stream here today, but I do want to continue the stream and just have it again when I think my brain has completely settled, because I don't think I really coherently said anything of importance. And I didn't really have a discussion. I was just more so rambling and confusing everyone and being quiet for like 10 minutes at a time, which is so improper as a streamer. I feel so bad. I just didn't know what to say after my brain just exploding like that. But oh yeah, I can easily see Alice appearing in Star Rail, but and I didn't even get to talk about how I feel Skirk is connected to the moons in some way. But that is also another conversation for maybe a few days or so. But with that note, I'm going to end stream there, and I want to thank everyone for stopping by. I am deeply sorry again for just being completely all over the place and not really having much to say as I try to recount stuff. But I promise my brain will be much more stable the next time I stream, and then I'll actually have notes to expand more on. So thank you for allowing me to ramble, even though I didn't make sense and I wasn't connecting things. Thank you. And I appreciate all of you for stopping by. So for the most part, I'm going to be in my Discord formulating things. We have forum posts about, well, the Moon Sisters and most recent lore stuff. So if you do want to stop by, feel free. Because sometimes when I'm trying to form my thoughts, I don't want to just immediately post on Twitter. I've learned to not do that as much. So again, thank you all so much for stopping by, and I will speak to you all later. Have a great rest of your evening or time of day, and I'll speak to you later. Bye, guys.